In any football match, there are only ever 3 possible results. You can win, you can lose, or you can draw. The worst result did not happen today. The best result didn't happen today. So we're in the mushy middle. It's not the worst place to be, but hey, City are right there in the mushy middle with us. So what do you say we talk about it? How's it? Welcome into an Arsenal Aftermath edition of the Loose Cannons. We drew at the Etihad today. It's not the worst thing in the world. I really, really think, without going off on a soliloquy here right off the bat, I'm not overly disappointed with the result. I do not know how either of my 2 colleagues feel about it. But I'm going to ask. So what do you say we start with Glenn at the bottom? Glenn, go for it.
Oh, hello, everybody. I'm Glenn, AFC New York. My new video is out, part 2 of my very first trip to see Arsenal Football Club and the UK. It's on YouTube and Twitter, and I just put it on Facebook now, too, but I don't really go on Facebook because it makes me feel old. So, yeah, let's get going. I'm really happy to, not happy, but I'm really interested to talk about it and see how you guys feel about it. So, yeah, let's go.
Ryan?
Yeah, I tweeted something after the show how, I'm still processing. I don't know how to feel. I don't know if I should be happy, upset. I think I'm going to be working it out throughout the show because I still don't really know how to feel. So it's going to be interesting to see what the people in the chat say and what you two say.
Can you hear me okay? Because my microphone is really down here, and it needs to be up here.
I can hear you.
You could have left it down there.
Yeah,
I can leave it down? Okay.
Yeah.
Do not change a thing. You're coming through loud and clear. It's perfect.
Okay, thank you. Go.
All right. Well, you know what? Bronx Gunner is going to lead us off here. It's disappointing when we could have done better and won it. All right. So, first of all, I guess 3-time defending league champions, current Champions League holders. We all know who they are. I just don't see this as the worst result. I'm looking at the result. I'm not looking at the performance yet. I'm not saying that I'm not there. I'm saying I'm not talking about the performance right now. I'm talking about the result. The result is not the worst thing in the world. Again, we could have lost. And believe me, at the end, they certainly had their chances. I am not overly thrilled with the way that we played. I will throw my opinion out there. I will then throw it to the 2 of you, and you can let me know if you agree, disagree, or something somewhere in the mushy middle. I think we went there with the idea to take our chances if and when they presented themselves, but not really try to create much on our own. Instead, rather absorb everything they threw at us, and hopefully a counter would present itself where we could take advantage. I do think that there were opportunities for us to do that. I can understand why, if that was the mentality, I can understand why we wanted to play that way. We were definitely not on the pace today. We definitely looked like the team that just had 3 weeks off. Meanwhile, they had the same thing. But they were definitely on the front foot, in my opinion. I don't think they had great chances. but they were definitely on the front foot. They obviously dominated possession. At one point, I think I looked up at the TV, and I saw total passes, and it was 191 for Arsenal. It was 592 for Manchester City, and that is just an absolutely astounding statistic, especially when you put it in terms of possession. And I didn't even see the possession percentage numbers. So I think we went in with the idea that we'll take our chances where we get them, but we're not really going to open ourselves up too much. So I think the mentality kind of was the draw isn't the worst thing in the world. And that's exactly what we got. Glenn, agree something else?
You were kind of, it sounds like you're in that phase where you're talking yourself into that it's an okay result, but that's just me, the way that I took it from what you just said.
I wouldn't disagree with you.
For me, I tweeted this just before the show started, and I still feel this way, and I think I'm going to land on this for the next couple of days. We wanted this. We wanted to play the best of the best for the biggest trophies. Manchester City are just as good as we are. And at home, we shut them down. It felt a lot like when I was making notes, because I thought about making a video about this, but we have too many games in a row for me to make a video about this. So I'll just put it all out here, and I'm sorry I'm talking so long. In the beginning, it felt like a rope-a-dope, if you know that boxing analogy, where, we were going to, lull them and then, hit them on the counter. And then it started feeling to me like, is this the way Nottingham Forest fans feel every fucking game? Because they are the best team on the counter and they just sit back and they absorb it. I'm like, oh my God, I couldn't take 38 games like this. Hey, bottom line, guys, in their house, we shut them down. Yeah, I'm being totally honest. Yeah, there's a small part of me that's disappointed, but I just lean on the fact that these are the kind of games that we wanted to be in. Manchester City are one of the best teams in the world, and fuck, man, if Jesus hit a couple of those. Anyway, I'm fine with it. I kind of sound like I'm talking myself into it too, BG.
You're doing the same thing. You're doing the same thing that I kind of feel like that I just did. So
yeah, I just did what I claimed you did.
OG, you're muted. You're muted.
Just real quick, just some stats. The possession ended 72 City, 28 Arsenal. Passes were 618 to 191.
So when I saw that, it had to have been at the very end of the game.
Yeah.
What'd you say, 618 for them?
To 191, yeah.
So what I swear 191 is what I saw at the end of the game to 592. So they completed another roughly 30 passes. So apparently we didn't get the ball at the end of the game. I mean, I thought that's what I saw. But anyway, continue, please.
So, I mean, just looking at that, I mean, they dominated us if you look at those stats. But I think my overlying, basic answer is just they were the better team. But we had better chances. They only have 2 shots against us all season. 2 shots on target against us all season, and both came from corners. So you give all those stats, and then you give that one, and you're just like, okay, I like this. I like the way we play in defense. I liked our IQ. I like the way we set up against them. They were the better team. I don't think we wanted to play the way we played. I think we wanted to compete with them. I think we wanted to kind of possess the ball, play our game. We didn't. I mean, we didn't play our game at all. We sat back and we played like a Nottingham Forest. We played like a Burnley. We played like a Sheffield United. We played like these teams that have trouble, that don't want to compete with us. They want to just sit back, absorb pressure, and move, and be physical and foul and muck it up, slow the game down. I don't know if we were fouling us with the game down. I'm going to sound probably pretty negative about this, but I don't really feel negative about it. as far as this game's concerned, but we were fouling them because they were just quicker than us. They were better than us. They were technically better on the ball. We couldn't handle it. So we gave away a lot of cheap fouls. Fouls, another stat. Fouls were 20-9. We fouled them 20 times. They fouled us 9 times. So more than double. I don't know. I think to kind of change gears a little bit to be kind of on the negative side, the way we play today, we don't deserve to win the Premier League title. We're, that's not a league winning title team.
You had me till the end.
We didn't. They were better than us in almost every facet. And I know at the end of the day, it's about score. It's about putting the ball in the back of the net. But that performance kind of discouraged me a little bit as far as winning the title. But I do think, taking 4 off 6 from City is phenomenal. And like, we're going in the right direction. All signs are going well. I just expected us to kind of impose ourselves more on them, and we didn't. And that was kind of like upsetting. It was upsetting to see us play like Sheffield United, to play like Nottingham Forest, to play like Burnley, West Ham, all these teams that just sit back against us. Because I think we can. I think at the end of the day, I think we compete. I think we can compete with City. But today, I don't know. Today I think left me with more questions than answers.
May I say something real quick before you give your thought, BG?
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, no.
The only thing that I think you're neglecting to put into your thought process with that, Ryan, and I understand your disappointment. Today could have wiped out a lot of demons. I never went into Manchester City so confident as I did today. So I understand your disappointment. But the one thing I think you're neglecting to put into your thought process is that we also played one of the best managers in the world. And I have not seen a team press us like that in forever. That press that Pep had today was a I'm not gonna say a beautiful thing to watch because I was frustrated the whole game, but as a neutral, I'm sure you can appreciate that press. It was just ridiculous every time we had the ball. That's all I wanted to say. I agree with most everything else you said.
I'm trying to. Yeah, you want to come out and you want to impose your will on other teams. But I think that there are games where it's just like whatever the other team is doing, it negates that. And we're playing one of the best teams in the world, if not the best team in the world.
Exactly.
And so if you come out with the mentality that we're going to impose our will on you, does that open us up to them imposing their will on us? And while I don't think that we came out and tried to impose our will on them, they came out and tried to impose their will on us, and they did.
Can I just throw some? I just want to throw one thing into that equation, then I'll shut up and you can keep going. I really think Arteta wanted to play that way, to shut them down. That's all I wanted to say. I don't think it was so much of them saying, we're going to fucking dominate you today. Hey, I took like a half hour.
You think Arteta wanted them to have 7?
No. I don't think it wanted to be that bad, but I think we definitely played that way. Where we didn't want to get caught. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm going to split the middle with you. I'm going to split the middle with the two of you. I think to a degree he wanted to. As I said earlier, I think it was. If we let me throw this out as an idea. I think if we play this game 2 weeks ago, I think it's different. I think now that 3-week break, I think we saw what that.
I don't want to bring up an old argument, but I think if maybe we had that Chelsea game a week ago, I think we would have been better prepared.
I think we would have been.
This would have been a better game. I think we would have played way better.
Yeah, it would. I mean, we basically just had here again 19 days, 3 weeks off, and the last 2 games that we played prior to this we were not at our best. Like, so if we're going to put it in context, and we're just going to look at a string of games, And then when you take it into context and you look at this result, and I think I think the result is fair. I
think we
agree.
deserve the
I
point.
agree that the way that we played today, we do not look like a team that is, I don't want to say deserving, because I don't think City ever play the way that we played. But I was talking to a couple of guys at the pub where where I watched the game today. And we were talking about, where could City potentially drop points? We're looking at, Liverpool, City, and City have Aston Villa at home this week, and then they go to Crystal Palace. And call me crazy, but Crystal Palace gives them fits. Gives them absolute fits. And they're trying to win a title. And while you say you go to Crystal Palace and you impose your will on them, when they do, they lose to Crystal Palace. It's just, I don't know why. But my point being, you don't always impose your will and win. And sometimes you don't get to play the way you wanted to play. And we just, and I'll say this too. A guy made a comment to me, Martin Odegaard, one of his favorite players, slowly becoming like one of his favorite all-time Arsenal players, Martin Odegaard. And no sooner did he say that, and Odegaard just belted trying to make a through pass to Havertz and basically booted it into the 7th row behind the net. And it's like, he was just off the mark today. Gabriel Jesus was just off the mark today. And when you look at different opportunities that we had that we missed, but not a properly weighted ball, Jesus's, shot goes wide in the first half. 19 days off, I think, took its toll. I think the sharpness fell off for us. And I'm not so worried about this result as I am going forward. We need to get the sharpness back that we had a month ago.
Okay. I have to say one thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And then I'll be quiet about this, because this is just speculation, all this time we had off. Because if you're going to throw it into a mixer of investigative work, we had a lot of time off after Dubai. So look, you guys, the way you feel, I'm not trying to change the way you feel.
No. Earlier in the year when we went to Dubai and the time off that's I think what he said.
Can I talk now?
Yes,
Can
master.
I talk now?
Yes, master.
Master, no. If I were master, you wouldn't fucking interrupt me every 2 minutes.
Oh, he got you.
I don't always obey my master.
I don't even remember what I was talking about. I swear to God, I feel like I'm talking to my kid when this guy talks. So since I lost my train of thought,
I just want to say one real quick thing to Stan. I kind of disagree with Stan's comment about saying we don't have a plan B. And Stan, and you're gonna laugh at me, Stan, and all the viewers are probably gonna laugh at me, because I'm gonna be flip flopping all show like I normally do. I'm gonna be probably a little more obvious about it this time, because again, I'm still processing how I want to feel, how I should feel, because I went through the very, very positives of this game. What is it? City have kept 50. What is it? They've scored in 55, 56, something like that, straight games at the Etihad, and we kept them scoreless. There's a lot of good things, and then there's a lot of bad things, which I'll probably get more into. But saying we don't have a plan B, it's like I agree, because I just said a couple of minutes ago how I don't know if Arteta really wanted to play this way, but in the same respect, we were forced to play this way, and we didn't concede a goal to the best team in the world. So it's like, I think we kind of did have a plan B. We against what I thought. I wasn't excited when Tomiyasu came on. I wasn't excited when Partey came on. Tomiyasu kind of worked a little better than Partey, but we're bringing different players in. I know they were injured, but hopefully he's obviously trusting more players. He's trusting Tomiyasu. He's trusting Partey. Bringing these players on after a long injury layoff, after being 0-0 at the Etihad, I think is a big deal. Bring on Trossard and Martinelli. I think there's a lot of positives there, but I do think Arteta was willing to kind of move things around, have a plan B, have even a plan C and D. And I guess the question is do we like it? Do we agree with the plan? Because at the end of the day, we didn't get 3 points. We just got one. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be talking in circles like I normally do, but probably a little worse because I still don't know. But I think for me, long term, I think short term, I'm happy. But I think long term, when you look at the season as a whole, I'm not happy because, when you win the Premier League, you're the best team in the Premier League. We didn't play like the best team in the Premier League today, which concerns me. With that being said, I'll talk in another circle. I really hope we get City in the semis of the Champions League. I hope we beat Bayern, City beat Real Madrid, because I think I like our chances.
I'll look at it the other way. We didn't play our best today. I don't really think there's much more they could have done to us. And I think the plan B today, so maybe to agree with you, Ryan, the plan B was if we cannot impose our will on them, if we can't get the ball off of them, if we can't maintain a little bit of possession ourselves, let's just pack it in. We've got the best defense in the league. Let's go out there and prove it. And I think that may have been the plan B today.
At no point did I think Arsenal was going for a draw today. I do not agree with that at all.
I mean, Gabriel Jesus is playing left back for us for a big part of the first half, and again, like you could say like that.
But I think he's also a little forced to play that role.
I mean, we had the ball. We were probably a little past their half circle, so like just getting into their third. Jesus was behind the halfway line. He was deep, and I'm not saying like I sound like I'm saying like it's a bad thing, but I don't know. I almost feel like we played. Bear with me here. I almost feel like we played kind of like West Ham played against us. We were kind of a team in between two minds, where we knew City were good. We knew that they're going to come with pressure. We knew they're going to attack us. So like, okay, we'll sit back, we'll absorb this pressure because we are the best defense in the league, and I do believe that. But then some players were kind of like, yeah, but we're the Arsenal. We want to win the Premier League. We're the best team in the Premier League. We're beating teams 5-0, 6-0. Like let's gun it. Let's go. And it was interesting. It was interesting to see because we did have good chances. We did have better chances than they did.
I was just going to say I think we had better chances than they did.
I think we had better chances. I think if Trossard makes that pass to Martinelli towards the end of the game, I think we win. I think if Trossard's a little fat,
if Jesus could get to the end of the low cross from Saka.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I think as a whole, like as far as Arsenal FC are concerned, like a point, taking 4 from 6 from City, I'm happy. But there were a lot of individual performances that I was not happy with, that I'm just like, you need to either get better or get out in the summer, because there's 2 positions, in my opinion, that we desperately need in the summer. And I hope we have money to pay for them, because we're going to probably pay big bucks for those 2 positions. So
what's the second? I know what the first is. What's the second?
Well, I'll just say it too. So we need a striker. We need. I don't know necessarily if it's a Holland type player, but we need someone a little more reliable than Havertz, because I think Havertz can kind of camouflage and do different things, which I like. I don't hate, but I don't think he's a true striker, and I think we kind of need that. I thought Jesus was terrible. And I'm not one to say this. I actually didn't tweet this. There was multiple times in my head, I'm like, does he think he's playing for City? Is he agent City right now? Like the things he was doing, I just didn't like. I didn't agree with. He was slow. He was very selfish with the ball. It seemed like the pieces, when we were attacking in the first half, the cogs were clicking, everyone was moving, but Jesus was just so selfish and sloppy with the ball. I didn't like it. And he's been like that for a few games. So I was just like, no, I don't think he's really fucking up for City. I think that's just how he's been playing. But the other position is center mid. while I don't think Jorginho did as bad as I thought he was going to do, he
was invisible today.
I don't remember seeing him on the pitch. He got messed up once in the first half. I think Kovacic made a really nice play around him, and he was just with his pants down. But he didn't do as bad as I thought he was going to do. But again, he was invisible, so you take that for what you will. But we need, and as much as we really don't play with this, we don't play like this. We need a. Funny enough, I know this player might not even be out there, but we need like a Partey Jorginho hybrid that's fast, that's quick, almost like a Saliba that could play center mid. I think is probably what I want, because Partey and Jorginho are just too slow for us. It's cool we're playing West Ham and Sheffield United and Bournemouth and all these bottom tier teams, because we're not really transitioning a lot, because we're just in their third, hunkering down, having fun, kind of like playing like handball with, against the wall, hitting it back and forth. But when you need a transition, when you need to build out from the back, when you need to like really kind of change pace, we don't have that. Thomas Partey was that last season, maybe 2 seasons ago. He's hurt too much, and I mean he's coming back from an injury, so I'm not trying to slate him too much. But he's been really slow for us when we've seen him. And he was kind of slow for us today. He played a little better than when the last few times. So it looks like he's kind of getting back to full match fitness. But yeah, we need a center mid that could really change things up, that can control pace and yet play like a Declan Rice and clean the ball up, make interceptions. Honestly, a player like that was N'Golo Kante a few years ago, which if anyone. There's a cool video with Ian Wright and Arsene Wenger. And Ian Wright was asking Arsene Wenger a few questions, and N'Golo Kante was the one signing he regrets not making. One of them. He was one of the signings. I think it was,
I'm really, I don't know how to talk to you guys, because you're both, as far as the healing process of the draw at Manchester City, I think you're both really far away from it the way you talk. Here's the way that I've dealt with it. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, that you're disappointed and you're already talking summer transfers, and going for the title. But anyway, here's my point. Okay. Here's the way that I get through it. If this game were at the Emirates, I would be deeply disappointed in a 0-0 draw. As BG said, whoever's like playing with their keyboard, can you lower your microphone a little? So yeah, if it was at the Emirates, I'd be deeply disappointed. As BG said, this is one of the best teams in the world. Pep is one of the best managers in the world, and he pressed the shit out of us, and we did our best. I think Arteta's game plan was fulfilled, and and it's up to the players to take their chances when they got them. And here's where I have some common ground with Ryan, because we both wanted Jesus to start. Ryan, if we were doing player ratings, it wouldn't be as bad as yours, but I would give him a 6. He was basically invisible, but I don't think in my opinion, he didn't play as bad as you had said. But I think in just a couple of days, everybody's going to realize we played a gutty game today. They didn't dominate us just because they wanted to dominate us. Arteta had a plan. It didn't quite work out, but if we took some of our chances, it might be different. And I fucking hate 0-0 draw, but I'm fine with it.
I mean, you said about a healing process. I'm okay with this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't want to speak to you. I apologize.
No. It's fine. I'm okay with this. Everyone at the bar, as I am shaking hands with people walking out the door, everything I said to every Arsenal fan, I said the same thing. This is far from the worst result. And again, I said it in the opening monologue. There are only 3 results that you can get from a game. You can win it, you can lose it, or you can tie it. And we're in the middle. We didn't get the best result. We didn't get the worst result. So I'm with Ryan from the standpoint that I wanted to see more, because I don't think they are that much better than us, what we saw today. And the way that the numbers bear out them dominating us, and Glenn, you just said it, if this is at the Emirates, this is a different game. If this game is played let's not say 2 weeks ago, but let's say the Chelsea game gets played 2 weeks ago and we only have 1 week off. This is a different game. I think the time off, coupled with the atmosphere, coupled with the build-up and all of the sub-context that surrounded this match, lent itself to a result that is going to leave half the fan base praising us, half the fan base slating us, and a very few kind of right in the middle, which is where I think I am. The defensive effort today was second to none. The effort on the ball left a lot to be desired. And I think, we can make excuses. We can do this, we can do that. Martinelli coming back from an injury. We weren't even sure he was going to play today. Bukayo Saka withdrew from the England team, precautionary as it was, but watching him walk off today was not right. So there's something there.
That's another thing Pep did amazingly today. He shut down Saka completely. I haven't seen that in a long time.
I mean, I think I'm gonna say it kind of two ways. I think we shut ourselves down.
Oh, okay.
And I think that I'm not trying to be argumentative, Glenn. I think a lot of what we did, we were not crisp. And I think that time off, 19 days, I think hindered our crispness, our sharpness on the ball. They were the beneficiaries of that lack of sharpness from us, and they made it look worse, really, than perhaps what it was. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
We had the gun, put the bullet in it, and aimed it at our foot. They came and pulled the trigger. If you know what I mean? Like, we kind of did everything wrong except that final blow, and then they came along and kind of did that. But ironically enough, when they pulled the trigger, guess what? It cocked back, and they missed. Hence the 0-0 draw. Because they weren't sharp either. They had opportunities that I'll say a month ago, they probably score those. And I think just this massive gap in time off, I think it hindered them as well. So I think you can look at the defensive effort and you can say, well done, bravo, fantastic effort defensively. Obviously, we need to get sharper on the ball because we were not on the front foot today when in possession. And so I think two things. This is one of those two things can be true at the same time. We didn't play poorly. We made them look better, I think, than what they really are. To be honest with you, I still don't know, Ryan, that I agree with the Champions League thing.
Okay, I want to ask you guys a question. Can you? This is what I do. These, what do we got left? 14 games, maybe 15. I forget.
Try 9.
Oh, 9. Okay, 9 games. These are like chapters in a book, man. What next game's Wednesday, right? I think to put too much emphasis on how statistically we were dominated today is unfair to the club. That's the way I feel. I'm sorry,
Glenn. I was reading Sean's comment and I agree.
I think you guys are being a little harsh. That's all basically what I said.
Well, okay. So here, I was thinking about this while Tanner was talking. I think for years we've been looking up at Man City, and because they're just levels above us. There's levels to this game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're constantly looking up at City and you play this game, you're like, holy shit, we kept them on a clean sheet. They didn't score. Our defense was amazing, which it was. The defense was. We have the best defense, I'm going to say, in the world. Ben White, for me, you see people say, "Oh, Rice was amazing today." Stan said it. Everyone's saying Saliba man of the match, Gabriel man of the match. I don't know. I kind of wanted to say Ben White was my man of the match because defensively he was solid. He was really our only outlet for attack because Saka really wasn't doing anything, whether that's City stopping him or him stopping himself. Because I just don't think he had a good game. I just thought Ben White was doing the 1-2s, making the runs where he needed to go. I thought he was amazing. But yeah, we were constantly looking up at them. Me, going into this game, I don't want to speak for everybody else, but I feel majority of supporters were looking up at City before this game. I'm looking at City because I see us on their level. I think we're better than them. We've beaten them twice already. We beat them in the Charity Shield. We beat them at the Emirates. So I'm not looking up at them. I'm looking at them. And to really not have any, I mean, yes, we had better chances, but we didn't have that many. We had the ball 20% of the time. And I know the game's not really about possession, but I wanted to kind of put my foot up their ass, speaking for Arsenal. And we didn't really do that.
We all did.
We didn't do that. So, like, for me, looking at City, not up at City, there's part of me that was a little disappointed that we kind of didn't go so to speak, toe to toe with them, but as far as like looking up and getting to that level, getting where we want to be, because this is a journey and we're getting there. People say we're already there. I'd like to win trophies before I say we're already there. We're getting there. And this was definitely, from that point of view, it was extremely positive. I mean, I think defensively we were just, I think we could have played another game, and I think City wouldn't have scored. I just think our defensive IQ, our unity, our communication, our cohesion in the back is just, I'm proud.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't know what to say. You surprised me at the end there, Ryan. We agree. I'll let BG take it. You really surprised me because I'm spot on, my friend. Go ahead, BG.
Well, I mean, just to what Ryan said again. I think you kind of just brought yourself around to what I'm saying, which is we were great defensively. And we really held them at bay. We limited their chances. They had one shot on target. It came from a corner, and that was the ball that somehow inexplicably found its way directly into David Raya and his leg, and then he was able to corral it. That's their only shot on target all day. 2 shots on target total in 200 minutes of football. In the 2 league matches that we've played them. But I also think that on the ball, as I said before, it just left us wanting a little bit more. We're better than that. Defensively, I don't know that we really could have played much better defensively.
No.
But in attack and possession,
I keep saying this game is based on moments. I know Champions League it's more so, but like if 1 or 2 moments just went our way, we'd be having a completely different conversation right now.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way that's positive, but like for me, and I think for me, we're just not there yet, and they're just I don't want to really harp on this, but like I was really discouraged with Jesus' performance because when we talked our last show, when we talked, I was like, I want to start Jesus because I wanted Havertz to play the 8. I just didn't want to see Jorginho in the midfield. Well, I got my wish. I saw Jesus. Obviously he was on the left because Martinelli was hurt. We need an upgrade. We need an upgrade on Jesus. And there's just like little things that we just need to change to get better. And I guess also I think in my brain, when you win the Premier League, I take it literally in the fact that like when you win the title, you're the best team. No one's better than you. You're gonna not necessarily dominate every game, but you're always a better team. And I just felt like City kind of. This is gonna sound bad, but I can't think of another way to describe it. Is they kind of did what they wanted to do with us. But once they got anywhere near our box, you ain't got like Gabriel and Saliba put a lid on Haaland. And I think a lot of the way I feel about the performances, it comes down to individual performances. Like I wasn't happy with Jesus, but like Saliba and Gabriel, I wouldn't sell them for a Premier League title. I wouldn't sell them for a champion for one. I think that there is multiple trophies for us to win with the core group of guys. I really do. But when you see a player like a Jesus, like you see, like I just almost feel like I almost feel like I was like in the mafia, where like, oh, I got a couple loose ends you got to take care of, and I also and I think being in this position of getting rid of Bayern Munich in the Champions League to get into the semifinals, being in a 3-way chase to win the title, to be first place top before this game kicks off. Well, I guess before the Liverpool game kicks off. I don't know. I guess I expect more. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm definitely happy with a lot, like the core group of guys and the performances. I just think I'm excited. I guess this sounds horrible, and I am excited for the games to come. But I'm really excited for the summer because I do think we're going to be bringing in a big money player.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay. I'll try to be quick. First of all, one thing that if you're really disappointed and you can't figure out why you're over the disappointment, remember this. City really, 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 really wanted to beat us today, and we held them scoreless to a draw. I like Ryan's analogy, but I got a better one. In 1944, the Germans made one final push to change the tide of the war, and they surrounded a city called Bastogne in France. Completely surrounded. There were thousands of American troops in Bastogne and thousands of civilians, and the Germans mercilessly bombed them and they sent an envoy in there and said, please give up. We don't want to kill any more of you. Give up the city so we can move on with our march. And the general, I don't remember his name, said, nuts to that. We're not giving up. The next day, the weather cleared. The American bombers came in and took out those fucking Nazis, cleared them all out. Today was our Bastogne. We held on, and now it's time to move on.
And we can do that too, which is that's awesome. Also a great analogy, Glenn. And I like that because we could it's not like the title race is over. It's not like we're not in it anymore. Like we can win the next games. All these games, like this was the one game that was like this is going to be tough, but the rest of the season are all winnable games. I think it's going to come down to the fixture. The fixture congestion is going to be tough. But yeah, very much all winnable games. And just real quick before we say anything else, I actually disagree with Gary saying our depth is still short. I don't think our depth is short at all. If you looked at our bench, all those guys on our bench, I have confidence in. The problem is Arteta doesn't have confidence in them, which that still worries me. Because whether you think a Vieira, a Nelson, an ESR, either they're good enough to where like you could trust them and bring them on in a game like this, or or even against like a Tottenham or United, like a team like a couple levels below us, or just sell them. Because I want players. I want to have a bench where you could literally look at every player on the bench and be like, ooh, you could bring him on. Ooh, or you could bring him on. I don't want our subs to be set in stone. And I just feel like with Arteta, they are. And I don't think but I don't agree with him. I don't agree with Arteta. I do think you could bring an ESR on. I do think you could bring a Reece Nelson on. Problem is Arteta doesn't feel that way. So I think that's where I don't want to say you're confused, Gary, but I think like you think our depth short. I don't think our depth short. I just think Arteta thinks our depth short. I think Arteta's like I could trust on the bench who Trossard and Tomiyasu.
It's when it comes to depth, I'm not arguing with you. I just want to point out something that I just remembered from the game. It was hair raising, but then it was awesome that it happened. Gabriel was out of position in the box, and the ball was coming right to what's his face, the big guy, I'm like, oh my God, he's gonna head it in the net. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Tomiyasu came and fucking headed the ball to the goal line. And I just was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. We have depth. We have depth. Sometimes I argue about the way Arteta uses it because I'm with Ryan. When are we gonna see ASR? The kid, give the kid a chance at some point. But that's tit for tat. I just wanted to point out that Tomiyasu play when Gabriel was out of position. Oh my God.
I think that when you look at the subs that were made today, he was hoping that they would make an impact in attack, but trusted them enough defensively to say, I'm not losing anything defensively with these players coming in, and it was all very like for like.
Yeah, I agree.
Stan, that's such a fucking. I love that comment. And it's
real
so
quick,
funny.
the ball was going to Holland. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit high.
Yeah, you said big guy. That's such a good comment, and I couldn't agree more.
What was the comment? I didn't see it.
Right here, it's on the screen right now.
It's literally in front of you. I don't know if I fully agree on Zinchenko because there are just things that he could do. I knew it. There's just things he could fully do an attack that I just don't think a left back can do. But here's the thing: I just think if we upgrade in midfield and get that player that I'm talking about, I don't think we need Zinchenko. I don't think we need him to be that left back that can invert and do all this passing and all that whatnot. I think we just need to spend. It might be a Declan Rice type fee on another midfielder, but I think I think if we do that, it can definitely outdate Zinchenko for sure. But 100%, we outgrown Jesus, and I do think we're starting to. And I know me and Real Ryan, we've been arguing for Zinchenko. I really do think though we're starting to outgrow Zinchenko.
You guys ever hear that? It's an old saying, absence makes the heart grow fonder. You know, if someone's away for a while, you feel more for them.
And
it's the opposite
breeds contempt.
It's the opposite with Arsenal fans. I'm not arguing with you, Ryan, because I think I'm kind of saying, Stan, don't give up on Zinchenko yet. Jesus, at the very least, he's a backup. That's all I'm saying.
Well, see, here's the thing with Zinchenko. Real quick, before let me circle back to Zinchenko here in a minute. Ryan, you made a comment earlier about, teams, the team that wins the league, the best team in the league, and the best team in the league is not always the best team on the day. City in the last 3 years in these,
I wanted that Chelsea fiction. No, I'm kidding.
They've not been always at their best, and I'll go back to the Crystal Palace comment that I made at the beginning of the show. That's their death drop. That's their bugaboo. They, for some reason, and I don't know why Palace are the ones that stick in my head, but I feel like it just every time I see City and Palace play, I'm surprised by what Palace are doing to City. Whether it be just they hit a worldie and it's like out of nowhere, RKO out of nowhere. I don't, but they give them fits. You don't have to always be the best team on the day. You need to be the best team consistently over the course of 38 games. And while we were not at our best today in possession, this, ladies and gentlemen, is the epitome of the old American adage in sports that defense wins championships. Because if we can somehow go on and win this league this season, we may very well look back at this match and say, that was the defensive performance that we needed that propelled us forward so that we went when we weren't at our best and scoring 5 or 6 goals a game. Because as great as it is, it's not sustainable. This is not a sport where teams score 5 and 6 goals for fun week in, week out, match in, match out. It's just not going to happen. And I think that well is really starting to run a bit dry. This is now where we look back and look back literally behind us to our defense and say, now it's your turn to shine.
Football, it's just the best sport in the world. I mean, look what Porto did to us. It's strategy. It's all strategy. And today was a strategy where we didn't want to let them score, and it worked. Unfortunately, we didn't take our chances.
And like I said, it's moments like that where you say, we missed it. Here we had a chance and we missed it, but we didn't concede at the other end. So we weren't on the front foot. Again, I feel like a broken record. We're not on the front foot in possession, but our defense was so stout that it made up for it. And we earned a draw, whether you want to say we earned it or not. We earned a draw.
We earned it, yeah.
I'm not going to say it's not one of the hardest places in Europe to go play, because I hear fans of other teams all the time telling me that it's a library in there.
I
But
thought they were pretty. Considering, because I agree. I've seen them. I've seen them be quiet. I thought they were. I thought the fans for them were pretty up for.
I thought it was a lively game, and
I think our fans were louder.
I
think our fans were
remember,
louder.
I remember, yeah, I remember hearing and smiling. I remember hearing our away fans at least 3 times and smiling during the game.
But I think that's also why I'm like. That's why, like, when Tanner, you made it a comment a couple times. I think Lennon might even said it too. It's like, oh well, if this game's with the Emirates, we would have won. It's like, well, what is playing at the Etihad matter? Like I'm also too not. I'm not a big like, oh, we're home, so we have an advantage. Like, yeah, I guess. And I think I do think playing the Emirates for us, because just the camaraderie and, like, hearing North London forever before the game kicks off. I think that's definitely an advantage for us. Don't get me wrong, but like playing at the Etihad, like, again, like you said, it's not Anfield. Like, I don't see how we kind of had to shell up a little bit just because we're playing at the Etihad. Like, that's why, like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I guess what I would say is, I think if we played at any other stadium, if this game was at a neutral stadium or Etihad, I think we play the same way. I mean, if it's at the Emirates, maybe we play differently, I guess. But, like, I don't like that, though. I don't want us to play differently because if we're home or away. And I think also, like, why I have a slight, I guess, critique of the game is because I think there's a potential that we're going to see City again this season, and I don't really want to be clinging on to my butt cheeks in a Champions League semifinal and play like that, because I don't know if that's going to be the way we could get ourselves into the final. I don't know.
We talked about this earlier in the week about who was it earlier this week, or maybe it's when we did the bracketology show. But about I remember the conversation. I'll just say what I said, and I still.
The question this is last show.
Well, not this question, not this question. No. And Stan, we'll get here in a sec. But about playing City, I do still believe that, and I actually said this at the pub today to a couple of guys. While I would rather probably play City in the semifinals, I do think they would win. I do still think, and nothing today has swayed my opinion on that at all. I love the defensive effort, and I think we can absolutely bring that. But I still think over two legs, and it's more of an experience thing. It's more of a composure thing. It's more of a been here, done that kind of thing. You've got one of the best managers to have ever managed the game in Pep, and he can just, the preparation is, and especially it is hard to beat a team 3 times in a season, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't beat them 3 times, beat them twice and drew once. Got to think, man, the law of averages comes back around to their side of things if we get them in, if we can get through against Bayern and we get them in the Champions League. I would like my chances better. I like our chances better against City than I would Real Madrid, simply because it's what did Glenn, what did you just say? Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes.
But the opposite of that is familiarity breeds contempt. And we're all I obligatory American sports reference, but the 3 of us are all hockey fans. Rivalries are born in the playoffs, right? That's where you look at a couple of teams in the NHL and you say they shouldn't really be rivals, yet here we are, right? And the Penguins and Capitals. I'll go homer, but there was never a rivalry till the 90s when they just started playing each other in the playoffs all the time. Yeah, and that's where it comes from. So the familiarity breeds contempt thing, to my point, with us in Manchester City is if getting ahead of ourselves here, but if we do see them in the semifinal of the Champions League, the familiarity is going to, I think it will create a few more problems for us than it will for them.
I think Arteta will find a way to beat that amazing press Pep did today.
But
That
I
press was
think
great.
maybe back to a comment that Stan made before earlier in the show, the lack of a plan B. It's one thing that your plan B is okay, just park the bus. That can be a plan B in a situation like today. But over 2 legs, someone has to win. I don't really want to go to penalties with that team. So the plan
I
B
also
really,
don't even think we parked the. I don't know. I'm sorry I cut
I
you
don't
off.
think we parked
I
the
don't
bus.
really think we parked the bus.
No,
I
I don't
think
think we did.
I think they smothered us. I think they
Yes.
were just better. They were just that's why I'm like a little annoyed because I'm like, where I go back and forth. I'm like, yeah, like I do think our plan was to sit a little further back. Like again, like Jesus was playing. Hold on, he was playing, and like he was really deep. Odegaard was deep. Saka was very deep. But then it's like I don't think they were all over us. Every time we tried to get out, they were just
I remember
they
looking up at
smothered
one
us.
point. I remember looking up at one point, just thinking to myself, it just seems like they're moving so much faster than us. Every time
Yeah.
someone gets the ball and we think, oh, he's got space, there are 3 players around him. And all of a sudden it's like, and then we have to stop because there's no one ahead to get the ball to. So we have to pull up and kind of reset and start over again. I do agree that I think they smothered us. I do also think that maybe I'm crazy for this, and I want to get to Stan's question because I want to move on to other comments, but I'm leaving it up because I don't want to forget about it. Real quick, we pressed high. We pressed very high. But then once they broke that high press, we sat back.
It was
and then
it was a
loose press. It was
a West Ham press. We pressed like West Ham pressed us when we fucked them up.
High,
where they had a high press, but once you got past those 2-3 guys, that was it. Done. They were like, oh, like all right, that's it. I didn't really want to say this because would we beat West Ham? What was it? 5-0, 6-0? I don't remember if it was 5 or 6. We played like they did, but again, our defense it was night and day. I mean, like, we defensively were like light years better than West Ham. The only thing I'll really say real quick and be done. I think the biggest difference in the game to me was the midfield. I think as far as the midfield was concerned, they were varsity, we were JV. It was men against boys in that midfield. And every time a 50-50 ball was in the middle third, they were all over it. We tried to be physical. Did a lot of, we fouled a lot, obviously, so we were trying to be physical, but I think we were physical because they were just winning the ball and doing what they want with it, and the only way we could try to get the ball back from them was to foul them. But everywhere else, I thought we played well. I think the midfield was, and it's funny because the midfield was the one area that I favored City. And yeah, it was. At times, I'm not saying the whole 90 minutes, but at times it was men against boys in that midfield. It was bad.
It's just one chapter in this war to win.
That's why, like, again, like, I'm not like screaming or like I'm not.
I get it.
It's upsetting when everybody's been jerking off Jorginho. I've been jerking off Odegaard. I think Odegaard, and I don't. I think it was.
I don't think he had a great game.
I don't think. I disagree. I don't think he played bad. I think offensively, he wasn't good. But we didn't really have the ball there for him to really be good.
Agreed.
He forced a lot of unnecessary balls. Yeah. He tried to play a lot of through balls that I didn't like. He passed it to City a few times. Offensively,
that was weird. Like, did you really miss hit the ball that badly?
Offensively, he wasn't good. I agree with you. But I think defensively, he surprised me because in games like this, when we play City, he goes invisible. He turtles up, and he kind of takes himself out of the game. Whereas this game, he didn't do great offensively, but he still kept doing it. He still kept pushing on. He kept trying to impose himself in the game. Did it work offensively? No. But I think defensively, I thought he was really good. And I think as far as the men and boys go in the midfield, I think there are times where he was the boy that was just gritty and just wouldn't give up and just kept pushing on and forcing the issue and being like, you're stronger than me. I may be making little boy mistakes, but I'm still going to be here. And that consistency from Odegaard is is something that I would love to see in our players, but not even just our players. I really want to see it in our captain, because at the end of the day, he's our captain. And seeing our captain do that, even though we got Boston in midfield, I think is something that hopefully the players see and have that kind of camaraderie and chemistry and build on that, because he didn't give up, even though he was getting, I thought they were getting Boston in midfield.
I just want to say this one more time, because we all kind of agree. So I'm not arguing with you guys. Okay. Don't take this as me arguing with you. We played one of the best clubs in the world. We played one of the best managers in the world, who shut down Saka, our best player, who had this amazing, crazy press on us today. Okay. And Phil Foden, the guy who to me has been like the player of the season, he was pretty fucking invisible today, too. We did a fucking good job, and I'm happy with this draw. Yes, in this hour we've been talking, I have convinced myself I'm fucking happy.
I don't think there's any convincing. I'm not going to say that I talked myself into it, because everything I said at the end of it, as I said before, people walking out of the pub, this is not a bad result. There's absolutely
no.
Sure. We can look again. We can look at the context of the play, and we can say Stan, and I promise you we're going to get to the question, but I just happen to, we created chances. We need to finish, and that's it. We did create chances. We needed to finish them today. We didn't, but you know what? Ultimately, you're going to have games like this, and like I said before to you.
We've had games. We're going to have games. We've had games like this, where we just can't find the back of the net.
But the chances were few and far between. We did create a few, but
they're better than cities. They
were. But it's not like it's not like we were creating chance after chance after chance. This wasn't Aston Villa. Yeah. It wasn't Aston Villa away. It wasn't Newcastle away. It wasn't West Ham at home, for crying out loud. This was on the road at the best team in Europe, until somebody proves it otherwise. And, and it's just that sometimes that's the way the ball is going to fall. We didn't concede. So again, be disappointed in possession, but be absolutely over the eclipsing moon. For those of you who live here in America, we get a full eclipse, total solar eclipse. No, it's next Monday. But be over the moon at the defensive performance we put forward. Real quick, to Stan's question, win the Premier League, win the Champions League. Glenn, pick one. Pick one and tell me why. But I
think it's so easy.
Yeah, I know this is easy for me, because I've already prepared myself for this. I think at some point our inexperience, I don't know when, is going to cost us a Champions League trophy. But so I say Premier League. I really expect us to win the Premier League this year. I really, really do.
Brian?
Yeah, well, funny. Funny that I thought it was easy and Glenn thought it was easy, and we're gonna have two different answers. It's 100% the Champions League. I think that Champions League is something we haven't done, and I think it's just huge. And to be the winners of Europe, I think is a little better than being the winners of England. And two, this is the closest Premier League title race in over a decade, and I don't know how long it's been that three teams are neck and neck, constantly shifting position, 1 point separating all of them, 2 points, 3 points. I'd be okay if we lost that. I'd be okay if we didn't win. I mean, no, I want to win both, obviously, but to not win the league this year, Liverpool are playing out of their skin. They have so many injuries, and they're just still winning football matches.
I agree with the commenter that I don't think they can keep it up, and they're going to drop points.
Yeah, it's funny. Mike Kerr said that, and I don't know. To me, if one of these three teams are going to drop points, I think it's Liverpool, but I don't know. But they haven't. They haven't yet. Danny Welbeck. If anyone listening can find me a Danny Welbeck Brighton jersey, I need to get one. I keep trying to look to get one, and I can't find one.
But do it after next week, please.
Yeah,
do it after next week.
But yeah, no, Liverpool just find ways to win, and a team like that is very dangerous. And obviously, City have just done it before, so. Yeah, right, Stan. But yeah, no. So I mean, 100% Champions League. It's to me, it's not even And it's funny because it was a question to me, and like I asked that question last week, Stan. So obviously you just admitted you didn't watch the show last week. How dare you? And I'm kidding.
Oh,
But no,
sick
like
burn.
and it's a good question, and I kept going back and forth about it. But like now, I mean, and I'm sure I'll say Premier League next show. But right now, I think it's not even a question. And the more after that show, every day that preceded, or what's the episode that came after? Yeah, that came after that. I'm like, nope, Champions League. You know, I keep thinking about the Bayern tie, and I'm just, to me, the Champions League 1,000%. Not a question.
For me, it's not an easy answer for me. Let me rephrase. If someone said this is not an easy answer, I could understand why. For me, it's the Champions League. But it really is as simple as it's a trophy that we've never won. We have been close. We've been arguably the best team in Europe. And I would say that we are the best team, the best club, historically speaking, to have never won it. And for me, it's just it's the one trophy that has eluded this club its entire existence. And the league, like I'm not going to sit here and wax lyrical about why I would take it over the league or why the league is it's not that. It's the idea of being crowned the champions of Europe. And finally getting that monkey off our back.
It's been, it's so subjective. So once again, I'm not arguing with you guys at all, but it's so subjective because for me, it's the Premier League because this, oh shit, I'm gonna have to go soon. For me, it's just this trip to the Premier League title. After Wenger, there was Unai Emery, and that just brings back pain to me thinking about that. And the fan base splintering when Wenger was still here, and then splintering with Unai Emery, and then when we first hired Arteta, somewhere on video is me repeating what Claude from AFTV said is, oh, we fucking hired a manager who put out the cones for Pep, and I was wrong about that. And to me, it's the Premier League title right now. That just because of that trip and all the things I didn't mention in that trip.
I can certainly wrap my brain around that idea. Like I said, there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer.
Right.
It is just
right.
it's just simply a preference thing. And I'm going to be thrilled to win either one. And winning the league in this climate with three teams within a point or 2 points of each other, this to win the league would be incredible given what's going on with this title race. But that being said, the road that we now know we're going to have to take to win the Champions League, that would really, really solidify and cement our place among the European giants to say, look, we're here and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. The average age of this football club, for crying out loud, is 23 years old.
Right, guys. I understand you saying. I just want to say I understand you saying the Champions League because that's like the world championship. I get it. I understand that. I just don't want you to think I'm poo-pawing or whatever you call that.
No. Again, it's all subjective. There's no right or wrong answer here. So, Glenn, you got to go if you want to say your goodbyes and get out of here.
I don't know if I can make a better speech than what I just did. So it was a pleasure. Thank you, everybody who watched live and everybody who's going to watch later. Ryan, BG, I love talking with you guys. I'll see you soon.
Talk to you soon. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think we've pretty much I think we've covered everything that really there is to cover from this. So, like I said, I think we're all in agreement that it's not the worst outcome. I don't think anybody's ready to jump off a bridge because we didn't win this game. And if anybody is ready to jump off a bridge because we didn't win this game, let me talk you down off of it. jump off
Actually,
the
no.
bridge.
If there's people there that are willing to jump off the bridge because we didn't win this game, I would tell them no, jump off, because I don't want you.
Well, all right, yeah, all right,
I don't want
fair.
you supporting this club.
Yeah,
No. You
true.
can go. You're good. No. I definitely. I'm nowhere near there. I'm happy. I wouldn't say happy. Yeah, I guess I'm content. Maybe is that a little better? I'm content. And it just sucks too, because I just think it's it's a little different, but I almost relate the Liverpool run this season to almost the Leicester City run when they won the league, where everyone's like, okay, Leicester are off to a good start, but they're gonna trip up somewhere. Like, this isn't gonna last. They're gonna go back down to reality. They never did, obviously. And this Liverpool team obviously is better, and they are a bigger club, so it's a little different. But again, Liverpool are just outperforming all of their stats, and they're riddled with injuries, and they're just not really. They just keep going. They're like, okay, cool. Like, keep doubting us. We're gonna keep doing this. We're gonna keep winning. Like, there's no off switch for them, which is very worrisome with 9 games left. So it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how this shakes out for sure. But then again, I think that's why too. Like, I just every day want the Champions League just a little more.
I mean, I don't disagree, but I think we're all. I don't want to. The first phrase that popped into my head is like all or nothing. I'm not all or nothing by any stretch of the imagination, but I just
like people. It's funny, like people.
I want it all
out there. Yeah, and there are people out there that if we don't win the Premier League, will be very like, oh, the season was a failure, and like this is like we're terrible. Like, I don't know. I think that's crazy. I think that's nuts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's. I'm not disappointed. I went in saying to myself that this isn't the worst result. A draw is a very reasonable and beneficial result. It keeps us. I think it does help boost confidence a little bit. It can create some momentum for us and give us some belief that we can, do a job against the, I don't want to say bigger teams, but some of the perceived better teams than us in Europe. And it keeps us within striking distance of the league. It takes one loss and one win from Liverpool and one win for us, and we're right back top again. So we've got the goal difference. We've got the goal difference thing in hand. We get Luton on Wednesday, so hopefully pad that stat a little bit, because City are going to find their form. And that's the other thing too, is that when you look at it, something we didn't really talk about, but everybody says, you said it, I've said it, the run that they can go on, and they did it last year. Does this maybe trip them up a little bit? Does the way that they played and the way that they smothered us today and did not score and say, does this maybe put a little hitch in their giddy up, so to speak? Do they, like, all of a sudden, hey, maybe it's not our year. Maybe we're not destined to do this 4 years in a row and do something that's ever been done before. So
they have injuries of their own too. So
yeah, and again too, the other things that we really didn't touch on before, but even injuries, we're not fully fit. We've got everyone that I look at this team top to bottom today, and the 18 guys that got a shirt, and I say this is probably the best team that we could field, top to bottom, starting 11 and subs, and it's probably the first time it's been done this year that we've had this complement of players. This is our best 18. I don't think I'm missing anyone.
Timber.
Other than Yuri and Timber.
Yeah.
This is our best 18. All right. and they're not all fully healthy. They're healthy enough to play. They're healthy enough to get some minutes, but they're not fully fit.
Like, I genuinely think Martinelli's really hurt because, I mean, he did come on, but
Yeah,
I was shocked when Leo came on before Martinelli. I really, like, I didn't think this was a game for Leo, but, like, again, like, I think, again, I don't know, this is speculating. I think Arteta wanted to pull Jesus off, and he's like, this is too early for Martinelli. So he, like, had to throw Leo on.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and I think the Martinelli for Saka thing, because when Saka was walking off, he didn't look right.
Well, Arteta said it's just fatigue. It's fatigue.
And it very well could be. There was a point where I'm watching Declan Rice run back, and I'm like, he's gassed. He's got nothing left. I'm looking at Kai Havertz bending over, tugging at the shorts. And they always say that's a surefire sign that a player is tired. He's bending over. He's trying to catch his breath. He's trying to get his wind back. And I looked at Kai Havertz late in the game. Now, mind you, we're into stoppage time, but they're getting ready to take a free kick or something. And he's standing there and he's bent over and he's tugging on the shorts. And it's like, this team is gassed. And we talk about rotation on this show a lot. And the fact that Arteta just doesn't want to seem to do it, or doesn't seem to want to do it. Boy, if there were ever a time for rotation, it's going to be Wednesday. Why not see Emile Smith-Rowe? Why not see Reece Nelson? Why not see Fabio Vieira in there? We obviously can't make wholesale changes to the entire starting 11, but why can't these guys that just ran their asses off for 100 minutes, 97 minutes today, why can't they get a break? Bukayo Saka can absolutely take a Wednesday against Luton Town at home. He could take that night off. Gabriel Martinelli, don't even give him a shirt. Give him a week. Give him a week. If he's healthy enough to get a shirt today, give him a week. Don't even worry about it. Let's get Ethan Waneri out there and see what he's got.
Maybe not like that crazy.
You know what I mean.
But I think I don't think we should make any crazy changes, but I think everybody, and I'm not saying everybody on our bench should start against Luton. No, I don't agree with that. But I do think I think some of the players should start. I mean, 1 or 2, maybe 3. I probably like 1 or 2. And then the rest of them definitely making cameos.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't, and that's the thing too, is like, I don't want to think that we could win the league only if Saka plays every game.
Right.
Like, I want to win games without Saka. I want to win games without Martinelli. I want to win games. I mean, there's certain players where like Saka, everyone says is our best player. You're not really going to hear much argument from me about that. But like a player like Saliba, though, like, okay, maybe we need a Saliba, maybe we need a Gabriel, maybe we need Declan Rice. But everybody else, I think we can. I would like to say we could win games without them.
I'm gonna put the Bukayo Saka thing like this, and this is a little bit of me trying to stir the pot a little bit, but I also do believe this. But if we have to rely on Bukayo Saka, as much as I love him, as much as everybody loves him, is not good enough to be the player that you rely on match in and match out to win you the league.
No.
That's not a knock on him.
I think you could rely on him. I think you can rely on him to have moments to score goals out of nothing and to maybe get 3 points here or there, to be a difference of a maybe a loss and a draw or a draw and a win, because he does create goals out of nothing. But like, to do that for 38 games, no.
I will put 3, arguably 4 players ahead of him in that conversation of the players that need to be relied on. That are probably.
It's also too that it's a position game at that point too, because having, like, for instance, having the best defense in the league, I think you take one player and change it. Maybe you put Tomiyasu instead of Kivior, maybe not. But like, if you change Gabriel Saliba, like, people have been tweeting about this all day and yesterday, the difference that's between Saliba and Holding makes.
We need to rely on.
They showed Saliba stats, and then they showed Holding. I think they showed Holding with the captain's armband, winking at the camera. I think that was when we played City. there last season, and they throttled us. I think that's a difference maker.
Well,
but no, yeah. Whereas I think Saka can be our best player. He might be, but like as far as potentially like having him sit out, or maybe not even necessarily give him a shirt, but don't start him. Have him on the bench. Break glass.
I would have
break glass in case of emergency. Give him like 20.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Real quick, the 3, maybe 4 players, and I think 3 are, you just hit 2 of them. I think 2 are pretty obvious, and it's Gabriel and William Saliba. I think the 3rd is probably pretty obvious, and it's Declan Rice. I actually think Declan Rice is, in fact, our best player. The argument, if there were a 4th, it would be Ben White. I would argue that Ben White probably needs to play more than Bukayo Saka, or we would rely on Ben White more to win the league than we would on Bukayo Saka. Because if we
agree. I think we can win games without Ben White comfortably, but I do agree. I would probably prioritize Ben White over something.
If I'll put it to you this way, we had our run of the 5 to 6 goals per game, and as I said before, that well's going to dry up. We're not going to do this every game. Hopefully, we do it Wednesday. I can't expect us to go to Brighton and score 5 or 6. Can expect us to score 3.
Honestly, I think we're in such a good spot. The goal differential. I don't even want to.
Well,
I just want to win games. I just want to win the games.
But look at the remaining games for the other 2, and that's where, because they each have runs of games like we just, against opponents like what we just had, where they can really make it up. And if they really go for it, they can do the same thing to those teams that we did. So it's like, well, okay, here's the give and the take. We did what we were supposed to do against the weaker opponents, the Sheffields, we've got Luton on Wednesday. We've got Bournemouth at some point coming up here in a few weeks. But we've got a tough run in. We've got a tough run in, and we've got the hardest of the 3 for sure.
I still think if we just let's say we all tied in the season and we went out, because all right, ready? I have the stats. I'm saying right now. We have 6 more goal. This is goal differential. We're 6 up on Liverpool.
Yeah,
we're 11. Yeah. I don't think City's catching us on that. I mean, granted, unless we lose in dramatic fashion.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that if you factor in, okay, if there is a loss in there somewhere for us, how bad is it? Hopefully it's not. But I mean, to my real quick, I wanted to say that if we do win the league this year, we had our stretch where we really dominated and we were just scoring for fun. But this run-in, these last 9 games, we're really going to, I think, rely on our defensive acumen to win some of these games, because I do think that the goal scoring well is drying up, and we're going to have more 2 and 3 goal, even a 1 goal game, as opposed to the 4, 5, or 6. I think those games are probably pretty much in the past, with the exception of perhaps Luton on Wednesday at home. And I believe we have Bournemouth at home. Got to be somewhere in the next month to 5 weeks. So those would be 2 that I'd look at and say, yeah, we should probably score 4 against both of them.
I guess I agree, but I don't think we need to.
I don't think we need to. It's not a need.
I'm that comfortable with our goal differential to where if we're beating teams by 1 or 2 goals, I'm happy.
But my thing is, when we were doing this to West Ham and we did it to Sheffield, we're up 5-0 at halftime. That's the kind of effort that I want to see against those teams, where don't stop at 3. Again, it's not our job to stop scoring goals. It's their job to stop us from scoring goals. So keep going. And I'm, like I said, it's not that we have to. And if we get to 80 minutes and we're 4-0 up, we don't need to chase the 5th. Play smart.
I'm not saying
don't necessarily chase the 5th, but
I think it's where we disagree. I'm not saying stop scoring. Never stop scoring. You always want to keep scoring. Right. I think that when you go up 2, you go up 3. You make the subs. You put on the players that
Sure, we've said
either
that we've agreed on that
either
for
shit or
years.
get off the pot. Either
Yeah.
you're gonna be here or we're selling you.
Right.
Like this is
you
ESR.
know
This
what?
is your chance
And you know what?
to change my mind. Reese Nelson, this is your chance to change my mind.
And
even
to that,
even Eddie and Kedia, like anyone, like just that.
And
I think
to
when you're
that
up 2 or 3,
point-
you do that.
while we don't need to score more, but you just hit the nail on the head with show me, go score a goal.
Yeah.
We're
I trust
3-0 up.
I trust our defense that much that I think if you go up 2,
and that's
and the second half, I'm like, bring on Eddie, bring on ESR, bring on Reese, and like, but that's the thing though. You have to kind of balance it to where like the defenders need rest too. Like you need to kind of.
well,
it's a balancing act, but I do think our defense is so good that like, okay, you guys just need to do your job, and then I think let these players make a name for themselves. Let these players either make a place in that bench, make an argument to be in the starting 11, or out they go.
Or make a case for somebody to come in and give us $40 million for them.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess that too. But I don't like that we have so many unused subs, and I think there's been so many moments, some less than others. I know Vieira's probably only had 1 or 2 good games for us, but like people still think he's like the next thing. People think he could break into our 11. Well, he needs an opportunity. Reese Nelson needs an opportunity. ESR needs an opportunity. And like some people like, oh, they don't need opportunities. Like they had their time. I still think that at the end of the day, Arteta needs more people to trust, and they need playing time. And again, I think or play them and up their fees. Have these teams pay us more money. Like if they sit on the bench for us,
valuable to this club. One way or the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The insurance basket, by the way, welcome in. It's been a long time, I think, since we've interacted with you.
Yeah.
But smaller teams have tripped us up in the past. Can't get complacent, boys. I love it. And you're absolutely right. This is a with Luton. And then, I mean, Brighton are a bit down, I think, from maybe some of the expectations they had coming into the season. But, Luton, do your job. One of the absolute best sayings in sports, it applies to life in general, but do your job. And what's implied in there is do your job well. And if we do our jobs well, we're going to win the game. I think the thing for me, what today showed me, is that we will win games with defense. We may not be on the front foot. We may not have our best, I don't want to say effort, but we're not as sharp. We're just off the sharpness a bit in a game. But if we can nick 1, maybe 2, defensively, we can hold anybody in the league. And that really is what it boils down to for me, is that we seeing this performance today, the poor performance in possession, but the outstanding performance defensively leads me to believe that we can just shut anybody down. Knock on wood. And if we have to win a defensive game, we can do that. And that's the thing that today I'm really that's the way that I'm going to choose to look at this game today. Not the best, obviously not the best result, but not the worst. But we showed today that we can withstand a lot of pressure, because they did pressure us. They didn't get off good chances, but they pressured the shit out of us. And if the ball takes one bounce their way, it's in the back of the net. So I'm going to choose to take this as defensively we're in a good spot, and hopefully this continues over the course of the next 9 league games, continues against Bayern, and let's just ride this out and see how we do. The other thing regarding I'll say fitness, giving players rest. You talked about, giving the defensive players a rest. Well, you know what, against Luton Town, hopefully they don't need it, because hopefully they're resting while they're standing 10 yards inside the halfway line doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Saliba and Gabrielle just kind of like do. All right, well, hey, we're back here if you guys need us, but otherwise I'm going to read the newspaper and have a cup of coffee. Hopefully we can just dominate possession in the final third.
I hope so, because that's not what happened when we played them at their home.
It is not.
But
like I said, hopefully, I
think it will be. I think it will be different though. So.
Yeah, and again, as much as you had said earlier, like it shouldn't really matter where you play, but it does. And I think being at home for us is going to look. I don't think it's going to be a 4-3 thriller like it was at their place. So, but yeah, we're at an hour and a half here, 90 minutes. Is there anything you want to add to a final thought, and we'll get out of here?
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate the Arsenal women for winning the League Cup, beating Chelsea.
What a game!
What a game! I had that on my iPad. I was watching the Arsenal game, which
they actually had it on at the pub where I was.
Oh, nice! Yeah, it was a good game. I'm happy. It's so funny. I mean, people know I hate United the most. United are the worst. But when it comes to women, I think Chelsea for me is.
And did you see their manager at the end of the game?
So funny enough, she shoved Endoval. I can never pronounce his name.
Call him Eunice.
Eunice. And she at the end of the season is leaving to become the United States women national coach.
Boy, just give me.
So that's it's going to be fun. I hear she's a little bit of a sore loser.
She was very much a sore loser today.
Going to a team like for people, the American women are very good. So but they do lose. They lose games. When they lose, it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts. So I'm a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
But so it was a great game. I don't like they have that one player on Chelsea that I just can't stand her. She's a dirty little player, but whatever. I don't really care about her. I care about us winning a trophy. It's awesome to see. Really kind of annoying that they had to put it on at the same time. It was on at 10 a.m., but I had to watch the end during City.
And it goes to extra time, so
yeah,
it's halftime of the men's game, and they're in extra time of the women's game.
Really? It was tough to focus. But congrats to the women.
Yeah. That's it. We'll get out of here. Thank you, Stan, the insurance basket, for jumping in there. Bronx Gunner was in there. Sean, Early Doors Football made an appearance. Gary was in there as well. I don't think I've missed anyone. That should be it. I'm scrolling back through the chat. Nope. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for interacting. If you haven't already, please leave us a thumbs up on the video if you liked what you heard here today. On YouTube, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. Click the bell icon so you never miss an episode. Greatly appreciate it. We are 19 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. So please tell a friend, tell a coworker, tell a family member. If you don't have any of those, yikes. But yeah, good stuff. Again, not the worst result in the world, not the best, but we take it, we move. Good defensive effort from the boys today. Just need Liverpool to drop some points somewhere. Hopefully we can overtake them. And it's going to be a fun run-in, folks. Enjoy it. This is not something that you see every season with three teams bunched up at the top the way that we are. So enjoy it. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Enjoy the ride. And that's it for us. It's been good footy talk. We'll see you out there.